Yeah, big week for our team. 2 road games in the Big 12. Starts with Texas, a team that we have a lot of respect for. Shaka is one of the best coaches in the country. And Texas has really good players. So it's a program that's been in our thoughts and prayers, actually, as our team, just because of what's going on with Andrew and his fight against this disease. And I have a lot of respect for Andrew. We have the same hometown in common, Irving, Texas, and I saw him play a lot on the circuit. And Shaka's told me what a great player and, more importantly, what a great person he is. So we continue to pray for him and his family in the Texas program. We look forward to Wednesday night, a chance to compete with a great team.
So you mentioned the 5 to 6 possessions can be the difference in terms of the standings. Obviously, they've kind of suffered some losses where that did happen. I guess what have you kind of seen from them just as they progressed throughout the Big 12 season so far?
Well, I think Texas has a really good team. Just like a lot of us included, they've dealt with some injuries, some adversity, some guys that they were counting on not being with them, but that's life in the Big 12. And what Shaka will do is what every other great coach does, he'll adjust. They've already got some wins. They've played well on the road and at home, and it's just still so early in our conference race. I mean, they're right in the thick of things. I think last year, one of many stories that comes to mind, Oklahoma State doesn't start off very strong. They end up not only being one of the best teams in our conference, but the country. And so those of us that compete in the Big 12, both coaches and players, understand that it's real early. This is January. Everybody's just trying to win a game, win your next game. This thing won't even start stacking out till February.
I know everyone talks about Bamba, but I know Dylan, their transfer out of Tulane, has been pretty good. I guess what have you seen from Dylan, and I guess same thing with Bamba?
Can you pronounce Dylan's last name?
Ostradnowski.
Yeah, it's better than me. I was gonna say Dylan as well. He's a really good player. We did some background work like everybody does at this level, and I think he's even improved from where he was at Tulane, I believe it was, and that's a credit to Shock and his staff. He's a guy that's gotten a lot better in the redshirt year. I would like to think that we kind of did the same thing with Tommy and Brandon. But he's a great player. I think his numbers alone prove that he's an NBA prospect. He's a guy that plays all over the floor, inside and out. Shock and those guys do a good job getting the ball in different spots. But I think he's one of the top players in the Big 12.
We'll go to Will, second row on the right there.
Coach, Josh got those 6 minutes the other night. What did you think about those 6 minutes he's played and just kind of has his role in the rotation here moving forward?
Yeah, I thought Josh did a great job. His ball handling and poise, made some really big plays, maybe that won't even show up on a stat sheet, but those were pivotal minutes he played. I have a lot of confidence in Josh. From a coaching standpoint, you want every guy that you recruit to come in and play, and you want everything to work out individually, but it's a team sport, and sometimes people have to wait for their opportunities. But the impressive thing about Josh is he's continued to work hard. He's been in the gym as much as anybody. He's worked on improving his body. He's studied the game all year long in a film room, even though some games he didn't get any playing time himself. We have a lot of confidence in Josh moving forward, and I look for him to play a bigger role as the season goes on.
With Naeem, I know he had a couple big plays there the other night, but it seems like he hasn't had quite the offensive production here the last couple games as he may have, early on in the year. What are you kind of seeing from him on that end, and maybe what are you kind of looking for him to maybe change on that end of the court?
Yeah, I think a couple things with Naeem. Right off the bat, he's really embraced defense. As you guys know, he normally guards the best team's other player. He starts off both halves with that role. He's playing better defense than I've ever seen him play. I think that's going to translate to Naeem being an even better pro than he would have been if he wouldn't have done this defensive concentration that he has. So, number two, I think he's getting a lot of the opponent's scouting report now. Last year coming in as a second and third option, he had some big games. I think this year people game plan for Naeem because they know he's a three-level scorer. Then I would tell you it's just kind of early in the conference race. He's had some nights where he had some great shots. They just didn't go in. But I predict his percentages will improve. He's one of our best three-point shooters. He's always been a scorer. I like the way Naeem's playing right now.
We'll go in the back there in the middle.
Coach, after the win against West Virginia, just what's the key to making sure your guys don't get too complacent and still play with that chip on your shoulder in Texas?
Well, we just haven't done anything yet. Not to take anything away from some of the wins we've had and what these guys are doing. I mean, this is college basketball in the Big 12, and you have to be consistent. You can go back and look at the most disappointing teams that this school's ever had, and there'll be a couple of wins on each schedule. But what separates the contenders from the guys that just are one-hit wonders is consistency. So I think our players would be the first to tell you too. So I really don't worry about our guys peaking early or maybe not respecting the opponent. That's just not who we are. We really realize that we really haven't done anything yet. We're just trying to win the next game on our schedule. We're trying to get better. We're trying to put ourselves in a situation where we can play some meaningful games in late February and March. And so I hope I answered that question well. I'm not trying to dodge it, but really in my mind, we haven't done anything yet. We have to continue to prove and validate each win.
We'll stay in the back with Ben.
Coach, what have you seen from Texas in the 2 games since Andrew's diagnosis was made public, and then playing obviously with a lot of energy in that TCU double overtime game at home, and then pretty close game at Oklahoma State? Have you seen kind of an uptick in just a spirit that they're playing with?
Yeah, I think so. What I see every time I see Texas play is a well-coached team, a coach that adjusts to his talent, not only from season to season but game to game, a coach that's poised. His team never gets too high or too low. They always seem to come back. And they got really good players. I mean, you look at their 3 interior players, those 3 bigs, they're all pros. They're all guys that are getting better as the season goes on. I think their point guard, 2, Coleman, I'm always better with numbers than names. He's playing a lot more aggressive since Andrew's been out. He's one of the better players in the Big 12. I think he's going to be, when it's all said and done, one of the best guards Texas ever had. So a lot of respect for the Texas program. So we're going to have to play really, really well on Wednesday to even have a chance.
We'll keep it in the back on the left still.
Coach, hate to be the one that has to ask this, but can you talk about the $25,000 fine that you guys received from the Big 12 today?
Yeah, I didn't know about that until just a few minutes ago, but, my job is to coach the team. But what I'll say this, and I'll say this very confidently and very firmly, we have great fans. I love our fans. I love our student fans. I love our season ticket holders. So the message is we really appreciate your support, your passion, and we want to continue to be enthusiastic about Tech basketball. Also have a lot of confidence in our administration and the plans that we have in place. Like, just personally, I was involved in a meeting way back in the summer about crowd control and about the crowds and the safety of the visiting team. So these are things we take very seriously at Texas Tech. And even in my limited role as the basketball coach, I know these things because I've been in meetings with it. So, things weren't, I guess, executed perfectly the other day. And so we'll just we'll grow. Our university will get better. Our department will get better, and we'll try to do a better job. But the message is we really appreciate our fans. We have nothing but respect for the West Virginia program and Coach Huggins. I think I've said that publicly, and I know that Coach knows that, how I feel about him and those players. So I apologize if anything happened. I haven't seen the clips. I'm too worried about Texas and future Hall of Famer Shaka Smart. But the message for me is real clear. I love our fans. I love our passion, and we'll continue to get better.
We'll go to Jeff here in the middle.
Coach, how much has this year changed for you coaching-wise? Not the basketball itself, but you're starting to get some national attention now with back-to-back weeks in the top 10, being in the top 25 several weeks this week. The outside noise, how much is that affecting you on a daily basis now?
It doesn't at all. No, I'm the same guy at Fort Scott that was trying to beat Coffeyville, or Seminole trying to beat Fort Smith, or Little Rock trying to beat Monroe, or Angelo State trying to beat Tarleton, or the ABA trying to beat the Fayetteville Flight. You've never heard of them, have you?
Once, and I think you said it.
No, I take my responsibility really seriously to lead this team and help our players win, and I could care less about anything going on with me personally. Just not the way I'm wired.
Let me rephrase that question. More of the demands on your time from the national media, from outside stuff that prevents you from coaching the way you were able to coach a week ago?
Non-issue, same guy. I get a lot more text messages on my phone. I want to apologize to all my friends out there that I don't respond to, but my friends know that I'll call them in April or May. We'll meet down at in Concan at the Frio River, and I'll apologize for not returning text all year, and I might have to buy the first round.
We'll go to Sean in the front.
When Zach came back, you told us that you were focused on helping him get to the next level. Talk about the poise that Zach has shown and how overcoming adversity will not only help him, but the poise that will help your team.
Yeah, I said it the other day, and I really believe this. This injury will not define Zach's basketball career. This is the injury where he's going to come back 100% healthy. And I think he's got a lot of basketball ahead of him. I believe that Zach Smith will play in the NBA. What path he'll take there, I'm not sure, but I have that much confidence in Zach, both as a person and player. This injury will also not define our program. You know, our guys will have to step up. Everybody on our team, including coaches, are going to have to do a little bit better because of Zach's absence. But another thing, you know, with this year, you guys can't let Zach off the hook either. He's got a role in this year's team. You know, I need Zach to keep helping Zaire and Culver and Norrance, and I thought he did a great job the other day. Zach was really dialed in. It's like almost like having another assistant coach.
We'll go to Austin in the back. We've got time for a couple more.
Obviously, losing Zach is a huge loss to the team. And with only two big men, you know, on the roster that get to play a lot, how do you look at replacing him in the lineup and how you can fill that hole and change your scheme and stuff like that?
Yeah, you can't replace Zach. Just like Shaka can't replace Andrew right now. You can't replace great players, but what you do is you just adjust, and everybody's got to step up. I mean, got a really good friend here in town, Texas Tech great, Curtis Jordan, played in NFL. And I was talking to Curtis just the other day, and he told a great Coach Gibbs story, Hall of Fame coach, with the Redskins. And he said that whenever they had an injury, you know, Gibbs would come in and he would Coach Gibbs would come in and he would embrace the truth of the disappointment of an individual player not being able to play. But then immediately in the next breath, he would just tell each player, this is now an opportunity for you. Opportunity comes in different ways in life, and opportunity comes in different ways in basketball. Sometimes the guy ahead of you doesn't play well. You get an opportunity. Sometimes you play great in practice. You get an opportunity. And then unfortunately, sometimes injuries bring opportunities for other people, and you got to be ready. And I thought Brandon Francis was one of many stories in the last game. He was ready when he got an opportunity. So we all wish we had Zach. One of the best players ever coached, one of the best people I've ever coached. But this is part of sports. This is part of life. This is adversity, and you know, tough people can respond to it. And I have a lot of confidence that our team will respond to this injury.
We'll go back to Carlos to wrap it up.
Coach, I know you kind of mentioned it on Saturday, but I guess what were your initial thoughts when you heard that Zach was out, and do you know if he will be back this season?
I don't know if he'll be back. It's really like a huge time frame now. We'll just have to see. He's got the cast on it. He'll take that off in X amount of days, kind of see how it's healing. But I just don't know that. But we'll continue to keep you guys up to date. Then what was the second part of that? I'm getting better at that, Carlos.
Just, I guess, how did you initially feel when you heard the news about him? Because I know obviously he was really kind of stepping up for you.
Yeah, again, kind of like what I was talking about the other night, just the human element of it. A lot of coaches speak would be next man up and this and that, but I choose not to kind of address this like this. You know, I look at the personal side of this. I look at Zach's side. I mean, this sucks. It hurts. I was hurt. I was upset. Zach was upset. I mean, it's a guy that's worked really hard. He's in a position to help his team, and now he can't on the court playing. So there's kind of a human side to this. But then there's the reality side, too, where the team moves on. We all understand that. But I'll never get tired of answering questions about Zach because, to me, he's one of the best players to ever play at this school. You know, if he stays healthy, he's the all-time leading block shot record, and the guy he's beaten is Tony Battie, a 10-year veteran in the NBA. So this is just it's a crazy thing, but this is life. But I don't think it's going to define Zach's career. I really don't. I think there'll be a day where Zach's playing in the NBA and he comes back and helps his team, writes a huge check for our program. And then we don't even really maybe remember that he got hurt his senior year. We just remember all the great memories and remember what a great player he was.
All right. Thank you, guys.